Welcome back to game number 2 of Chappa versus Power Rangers. It is a best of 3 series in a GSL format group style for the GameShow Invitational, a 15,000 USD prize pool for this one. So, lot on the line here, but good news is that the first 6 places get some kind of prize money, of course. First place gets the majority of it, 7,000 to be exact. So, Chappa, not too sure if they're up for it, but they're gonna have to improve for game number 2 here, because game number 1 Power Rangers took it, I do believe, like 23 something minutes in. So hopefully at least Chappa is gonna hold on for longer and show a little bit more resistance here as well. But we are HeflaTV, I am Couchor, gonna be joined by GrandisV once again. What kind of improvements do you think Chappa can make for game 2?
Well, at the moment, I think they just need ways to control the map. That was really where Power Rangers excelled in game number 1. There just wasn't any opening. Chappa were constricted in their farming space. They couldn't make any rotations, or they didn't make any rotations early, whatever the case may be, and then they just waited a little too long. They relied entirely on Juggernaut to do their damage, and in that last fight, he just couldn't. So I think they need to make sure that their supports can be a little bit more aggressive early on, and that first game, the Lion really didn't accomplish anything, and really Chappa couldn't get anything done with their supporting duo. It was a little greedy. Both of those supports rely very much on getting their level 6 Lion and Silencer, and they also didn't use it very effectively once they got it. So fighting early and often, I think, would be a good idea for Chappa.
Yeah, of course, they do have to make sure that they're not going to be falling behind in levels just because they are trying to fight a little bit too much, but the first pick will be the Gyrocopter, definitely one of the premier carries at the moment for this patch. It is definitely extremely strong. I mean, Rocket Barrage, you can so easily chase people down because, well, there's no cast point to that spell anymore. As for Power Rangers, Beastmaster still in the pool if they want to go for that one. This time around, Visage was banned by themselves, so that is out of the question, but there's still like a Queen of Pain if you want to go for. The Juggernaut for themselves, maybe, if they want to show how it's done somehow. Lion as well as the support is always solid, so we'll see what Power Rangers have in store for us this game.
Yeah, or maybe something like a Zeus or Lena. I think both of those heroes are still very good in the current patch and worthwhile for Power Rangers to pick up for themselves, but really I don't know how they're going to flavor this draft. They themselves banned out the Visage, expecting Chappa to first pick that up for their team, and well, we'll just have to wait and see.
Indeed we will, because Power Rangers, they're taking a uncharacteristically long time maybe, but it is gonna be the Storm Spirit first pick. It is maybe a little bit early to really show that because, well, once again they can go for the Lion on Chappa's side, for example, unless Power Rangers pick it themselves. But maybe Power Rangers are like, well, they had the Lion last game, didn't really bother our Storm Spirit all that much, plus they had the Silencer, and if you can get through a Lion and a Silencer as a Storm Spirit without a BKB, well, maybe you can just pull it off the second game as well.
Yeah, I don't think it gets much more counterpicky than what we saw in game number 1. The second pick for Power Rangers is going to be a Leshrac, and we'll have to see how these lanes shake down for them. It's pretty interesting. The Leshracs I've seen have generally favored the mid lane, although there is potential for safe lane farming there. I would like to see them give farm priority to the hero regardless. I think that this hero just does a lot with items. Although he can roam pretty early aggressively, I usually would prefer him just to get up a Bloodstone BKB or something along those lines.
I definitely also favor the Leshrac in the core role if it can be helped. The just spam, you just need mana really, and core Leshracs like go for a Bloodstone rather often, which gives you plenty of just mana pool and mana regen on top of that as well. Lightning Storm being that low of a cooldown, especially should you also find yourself an Octarine core on top of that. Now though, Chappa, it's their second pick time. Might go for the Lion because, well, we did see them favor it after all. If not, is this a game, maybe not, probably not as the second pick, but maybe a little bit later on to just snag yourself an Omni Knight, for example?
Potentially, but maybe you can do that later on in the draft. Omni
Yeah, I
Knight,
thought so as well, like later on, but it would be pretty nice. I mean, Storm Spirit Leshrac, if you can disable their magic, just prowess, well, maybe not disable, but give immunity to somebody.
yeah, it could be decent. At the moment, Power Rangers wouldn't be sitting on anybody with an 8 Purge or an 8 building of Diffusal Blade, so yeah, that could be alright. Vengeful Spirit Omni Knight's a reasonable supporting duo for Chappa, although a little bit range light. they'll go ahead and have that Vengeful Spirit as their second pick, maybe able to bail the Gyrocopter out of a poor situation with the swap, but more than anything, just a generally good support will help out the Gyrocopter clear out Ancient stacks as well with that Wave of Terror minus armor.
It's definitely going to be nice if you have like any way to deal with those Ancients, and well, hopefully they're going to be stacking those up as well. Of course, Power Rangers, depending on the heroes they go for next, maybe they're going to have something that can easily steal the stack, and then it's always risky to go for one. But at the moment, Chappa has panned out to Beastmaster, ancient apparition of all heroes taken out by Power Rangers. So is this like a Slark incoming, or are they just in general a little bit afraid of an ancient apparition?
Slark and Necrophos are the first two heroes that come immediately to mind when thinking of Ancient Apparition. Oscar also gets pretty hard countered by that hero. In general, though, he's just a really good tri-lane support and combos pretty nicely with the Vengeful Spirit. Yeah, so I'm not sure if they are going to pick up one of those heroes that really gets shut down when you take away that Ancient Apparition. The Chen has already been banned out, so that's not available to them. I think this is probably just banning Ancient Apparition to make sure that they don't have to deal with Vengeful Spirit, Ancient Apparition +1 lane. But regardless, I'd love to see one of those heroes that are hard countered. We are going to see Beastmaster and Brewmaster banned out by Chappa in the second stage.
Chappa is so low on the reserve time, 3 seconds only remaining. So they're definitely going to have a tough road ahead of them, just continuing with this draft here. Power Rangers though, they're on the opposite side almost, but oh, Lone Druid is going to come out for them. So some extra pushing once again, but of course, Lone Druid has, well, kind of massively gotten buffed, I suppose. Do you think though that Aghanim Scepter is a viable pick even on the Lone Druid, or is that just like a pop kind of thing?
It's very viable. I think it should be incorporated into the build eventually, but not as a rush item. I think you still go for like the Radiance or Maelstrom beforehand. You need some sort of damage on your bear before the Aghanim Scepter really becomes useful. But once you do get an item to help out pushing the lanes, you can do a lot of work with the ability to just keep the bear out, constantly split pushing. With the recall being so quick on the bear, as long as you have fast reaction time, ganking it is also very difficult. Although maybe a little bit less so with something like a Queen of Pain that can get in there very fast. Power Ranger is going to pick up a Shadow Demon, and I think this is going to throw the Leshrac into a support role. Shadow Demon and Leshrac is a very classic combination. Disruption into Split Earth is very potent at getting kills, even on mobile heroes like Queen of Pain. It's fairly easy to pull off.
Yeah, hopefully they're just gonna have that timing down as well, because it's not that common of a, or hasn't been that common of a combo for quite a long time by now. So sometimes you just see support duos kind of missing it, but Power Rangers, I don't think that's gonna be the case. Maybe like the first 2 times, but I really expect them to hit most of that, or most of them at least. Plus, of course, they in general have quite a bit of disable now. Lone Druid, if he locks out with the Entangling Claws on the Spirit Bear, easy follow up with the Split Earth. Storm Spirit can just easily Electric Vortex, have the Splitter follow up that one as well. So really like what they went for, and not only that, the Shadow Demon Leshrac combination, if timed correctly, also just is an easy way to kill Queen of Pain, because Queen of Pain's blink isn't fast enough to get out from that.
Very interesting last pick coming out from Chappa, and I'm a little bit hesitant about this Drow Ranger for them. They're picking a Drow Ranger into a Storm Spirit, into a Centaur. And these heroes are very good at getting up into her face and bursting her down. Storm Spirit disables that marksmanship 9 times out of 10 inside the team fights. Although there's an Abaddon to provide a little bit of cover and maybe purge off 1 disable, I think Power Rangers have more than enough to deal with this. They were running very low on the reserve time. It feels like Chappa had their heart set on the Drow. We'll just have to see how this works out for them. Both teams have very scary amounts of pushing ability inside this game. Between the Drow's raw damage that's going to be applied to 4 out of 5 members of their team, and the Lone Druid and Leshrac Diabolic Edict.
This is rather scary indeed at the moment. So Chappa, I don't know how they're gonna make it work, but they're gonna have to do something. Maybe they're gonna run an aggressive tri-lane of sorts with like Gyro, Vengeful Abaddon, leave the Drow solo somewhere. But even that may not really be the best kind of possibility for them. But as we start, or try to start this game, another pause task come out. Last game we had a couple of minor pauses, but they didn't last more than like maybe 2 minutes, so I'm really hoping that this game will be similar.
Well, for sure. I guess I'll go ahead and introduce the Chappa side, and we'll get into this game quickly. Fingers crossed either way. Bunny's going to be playing on the Abaddon, Metrum on the Vengeful Spirit, Gyrocopter handled by Dodgers, Pasha and Volker on the Queen of Pain, and Nickroll on the Draw Ranger to round out Chappa's lineup.
As for Power Rangers on the Radiant side, Cheshire will be playing the Centaur Warrunner Sunlight on the Storm Spirit, King R to be the Shadow Demon with J4 supporting on the Leshrac, and last one is gonna be Dichara on the Lone Druid. But do you also have the Abaddon like in the ground at the moment, or is it just me?
Oh no, that's pretty normal. Usually their spawn animations start somewhere down there. In the end, Abaddon's going to dig himself out of the ground, and we'll get into this game. Good luck comes out from either side, and we'll get into these lanes.
I mean, I know some heroes like drop down from the sky. I'm not too sure because I haven't really made like any statistics about it, but could it be like the Tire heroes start from the ground and Radiant heroes drop down from the sky?
There's
probably no correlation with it, but I'm gonna have to start keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, we need to conduct a study. We need to make sure that, yeah, all those spawn animations are in line. Okay, so for the time being, we're going to see a lot of Chappa heroes go down towards the bottom lane. It is a very potent tri-lane with Gyrocopter, Venge, and Abaddon if they want to stay around here and leave the Draw Ranger solo versus a Centaur. That's all right for Nickroll, although maybe not the best lane. I think that Nickroll, or excuse me, Cheshire Cat would be pretty happy in that situation, just being against a solo Drow. If she gets out of position, there is potential for killing the Drow, especially once you get level 6, and especially if you rotate in the Shadow Demon and Leshrac, which are, or rather should be, very aggressive in this game. Boots first on the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, it's just so that you can get the disruption, and once you get the disruption, it's just a little bit of extra time for the Leshrac to get close enough, although Leshrac, the base movement speed of 320, you don't really need to start with Boots anyway. But now it is gonna be Bounty Rune picked up by probably the Queen of Pain, maybe. Spirit Bear, is it gonna be? No, Queen of Pain gets it. Spirit Bear takes a huge amount of damage and may even lose his life here. That's feeding, intentional feeding.
That is worse than First Blood. Look at the experience that Queen of Pain got. She's up to 175 now, and 300 gold to start off the game. She could not be happier. That's absolutely disastrous. Losing her bear is also going to mean that Dichara isn't going to have that for the first 70 seconds of the laning stage, and up against the tri-lane, he desperately needed that bear. He went for an Orb of Venom first on his spirit animal, and I'm not sure it really is going to pan out for him. Against this try, you kind of need a stout shield or some sort of defensive item on that bear, maybe a ring of protection, just anything to keep it alive, but for the time being, he's going to try his best to soak experience. It's not a good start for Dichara.
Yeah, they may have expected like different laning coming out from Chappa, maybe like Queen of Pain off lane with Drow mid and Gyro tri-lane safe. I'm not entirely sure. But at least in the top lane now, they're gonna have some assistance to maybe just get the kill on Draw Ranger, at least stop her from farming if they can. Maybe earlier on it's a little bit troublesome just because it's so close to the Tire Tower, and the angles of initiation are definitely better if you're aggressive tri-laning as the Tire, because on the Radiant, well, I guess you can get extra angles as well, but you just have to eat through so many extra trees.
Well, at the moment, things are going to slow down a bit. Queen of Pain at the moment is doing alright in the mid lane up against the Storm Spirit, although it seems that Sunlight is edging her out in CS, just spamming out the waves, and looks like he got a better block, or at the very least has better lane control. And that is going to help, even though Queen of Pain is running with a nice range advantage in this lane. Ichirod does have his bear now up and running, is going to look to get some last hits under tower, although this is a very fragile time period for the lone druid, as his resummon is on cooldown. If they kill this bear again, that pretty much stops any ability for him to go for early game pressure. Pull up towards top is going to be attempted by King R, and well, it looks like it's only going to get about half a creep wave, but that's half a creep wave that Draw Ranger isn't going to see. It's probably still worth it to go for. At the moment, I'm pretty disappointed with the Leshrac and Shadow Demon splitting up. I'm not sure that J4 is accomplishing much by sitting down in bottom lane, except for soaking some experience away from the lone druid. I think partnered up, these heroes are a lot scarier than they are split.
Indeed they are. It's you don't think J4 is going to accomplish anything, and thanks to him being away from the Shadow Demon, probably the Shadow Demon not accomplishing much of anything either. The Ranger still has 8 last hits. Well, I suppose there are 10 on Cheshire Cat, so the Shadow Demon being close by accomplishes that at the very least, but well, we'll see. Maybe this is gonna work out in the end, because that is gonna guarantee, or maybe not guarantee, but at least allow the Blink Dagger to come out faster for that Centaur there. Mid lane though, Sunlight so far has been doing a pretty great job. Pasha now catching up a little bit thanks to that haste rune that she has in the force, the bottle being finished. but Sunlight has both the boots as well as the bottle himself as well. So should be rather fine to just take on Queen of Pain in the mid lane.
Yeah, at the moment they're trading blows pretty aggressively, both of them. But that's probably going to end up favoring the Queen of Pain. Now that more levels are coming out from the Ranger and a little bit more farm, the extra damage that you're going to get from that Precision War is also going to give Passionate Invoker a slight edge. And honestly, I'm surprised that Storm Spirit has been doing so well up until this point. He's going to get slowed down. Passionate Invoker can't actually chase over. The boots early on the Storm Spirit really have helped out quite a bit.
Yeah, it's really nice. Just also it definitely helps out in you just kind of trying to rune control.
Oh, Magic Missile, Spirit Breaker, or Spirit Bear, my goodness, is going to be dropped down to about 500 HP. No, that's going to be all she wrote. They didn't have any further disable.
The reading chat, Periplaneta man, he made a, well, I guess it's a pun, but the feed earlier on of the Lone Druid, Spirit Bear, it's just, the Lonely Druid just didn't want the bear, doesn't want the companion. To be honest, is it even viable to think of a Lone Druid playing without a Spirit Bear, just skilling the other abilities and then going into stats?
No. that sounds awful. Like, Lone Druid is the Spirit Bear. I mean, late game you can build some decent right-click damage on the Lone Druid, and it's not the worst to actually build items on the Lone Druid and just have the bear there as a frontline tank, but I mean, there's not a situation where you avoid the skill entirely.
Yeah, it is probably gonna be bad. That really makes me want to like try it in a pub and just see how much flame the teammates are gonna manage to just throw out there. But at the moment, looking at the last hits, Queen of Pain now has pulled ahead in the mid lane, of course. Thanks to the Precision Aura helping out, it is definitely rather easy to do so. Gyrocopter also bottom lane farming up, whereas Lone Druid only 4 last hits, and well, that hero isn't all that great just farming from behind, because you need those early initial items, like Maelstrom for example, to really speed up your farm.
Yeah, honestly, this game, it's going to be really hard for him to get towards any item. Ideally, you'd be building in towards a Radiance, but I don't think that's going to be a possibility this game. He'll go back into the woods, but this is going to be very slow farm. He got level 3, almost 4 in lane, so he is going to be leveling at a reasonable pace. But yeah, his gold income just isn't there at all. Shadow Demon Disruption up towards top, and a Hoof Stomp, double edge on the Necroll is going to secure first blood. That extra magic damage amp coming out from 2 points in Soul Catcher is going to rip apart the Draw Ranger.
So finally the first blood, 5 minutes in. Oh, took a long time, but they got it. Mid lane though, Sunlight forces out the blink there from Pasha. Not the blink dagger, just the blink. For a second I thought that the Storm Spirit himself might be in trouble, but
Gyrocopter bottom. It's going to be dropped incredibly low. Won't be able to back off and salve up. They chased him down with the bear. Looks like they got a nice splitter at the land, but it's going to be the Abaddon to lose his life up towards top. Another Shadow Demon Disruption into the Stomp combination from the Centaur. As scary as Lesh and Shadow Demon is, Centaur and Shadow Demon is also very potent. And maybe they can pull this off again. He's salving up. They get the curse, but no mana for Hoof Stomp as far as I can see, so he's not able to get that kill. Stampede's going to be forced to use defensively. The Centaur buys himself enough space. Shadow Demon TP's out. And although the Queen of Pain was close by, it wasn't close enough to secure either of those kills.
I really thought he's just gonna run close to the Draw Ranger, then pop the Mango and use it for the Hoof Stomp, not use the extra mana for the Stampede there. Or maybe use it for the Stampede, but still to go aggressive rather than just defensive. But they do back off in the end. They don't lose a hero, and well, for 5 minutes this game was without kills suddenly. Power Rangers managed to get 2, and that's really just the power of a Shadow Demon that we haven't seen for so long. Just the amplification of the damage mid lane, Sunlight. Just gonna try to force out the blink, but unable to do so for now, and Pasha has a haste run as well. Does pop it and will TP bottom lane. No, J4, poor Leshrac.
Yeah, at the moment, I'm not sure he's going to be surviving. If he sticks around and Magic Missile connects, that should be the end of his life, but Metrum seems to be guessing wrong. He's going to go into the woods deeper, looking for the Lone Druid, potentially. Ditchera is also a pretty tasty target. Although over in the sideline, scouts out the bench with the bear. The Wave of Terror is not going to cancel out that recall from the Spirit Bear, and now he's going to get that extra level at level 5 and will resummon. Haste Rune on Queen Pain going to bump back into the bears. The bear wanted to return to farming, but now with the blink forward screen, Passionate Invoker is going to drop the ultimate. Ditchera is down, even with the TP coming out from the Lesh, if I'm not mistaken. That's not going to do anything. It was either the Lesh or the Shadow Demon.
That was more or less a fresh Spirit Bear as well, because it's going to be on cooldown now for 94 more seconds. So about 85 seconds, give or take a little bit, once he respawns. J4 eats a homing missile, but it is only level, oh, it's level 2 actually, so it really gonna go for it instead of the flag cannon. Of course, you don't really need flag cannon that early on because it doesn't do a hell of a lot for you. Metrium in the meantime takes a little bit of harassment from the tower as he tries to go for the kill. Kingar though, top lane. Look at his positioning. He has a Quelling Blade to eat through the trees and just get a sneaky gank going.
That's awesome. It's not something we see very often. Quelling Blade on ranged supports is usually picked up against Treant, but he's going to look and try to find an angle of initiation. It looks like he's going to find it on Nicril. His sneaky plays are going to pay off with the amplification being dropped down to a hoof stomp, double edge. Although it's going to do a little bit less damage because of the reduction coming out from Bunny. One right click coming out from the Shadow Demon will secure it. Now TP attempt is going to succeed.
Whoa.
He's going to live on 14 HP in base. Close call for Kingar, but he's going to end up living.
Cheshire should also be fine homing missile. If it was level, well, even maxed out it wouldn't be quite enough, so Cheshire will make it back out. Queen of Pain gets a kill bottom lane. Ditchera will survive though, so only losing his support Leshrac. So across the map, it's still favoring Power Rangers because they did kill the Drow Ranger, the core after all. But this Queen of Pain is getting quite a bit of farm, and if you can get a early to reasonably timed Orchid, it may allow them to just do a hell of a lot mid-game, especially to the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, back to the Gyrocopter's build. I quite like it personally. I think going for the no points in a homing missile is just generally a bad idea. It always kind of hurts me whenever Gyrocopters completely forego it. I mean, I can understand wanting stats for a little bit of extra tank, but a homing missile is just such a good spell. At the very least, it forces some attacks away from you in order to kill off the missile, and best case scenario, you get a truckload of damage. But it's not going to save you Curie. Much would have rather had stats, but even that wouldn't have done anything. They're going to demonically purge up Bunny with no level 6 available for the Abat, and he's going to be dropped down like a rock. And well, it's going to be 2 clean kills for Power Rangers. The Shadow Demon is doing a lot of work. 3-0 and 2. He's sitting at about 1,000 gold. Looks like he's going to put that into a 4-staff.
Yeah, and with those kills, Cheshire Cat also has just enough for the Blink Dagger. Now with those creeps a little bit extra even. So
Zip in mid. They're going to jump onto Metrum, but turn around with the silence and magic missile. With the damage be either on the sunlight? No, especially now with J4 dropping a split earth to buy him some space, but looks like he's going to sacrifice his own life, especially when the sonic wave comes out. It's going to connect on the storms where he's going to survive in about 100 HP. It's going to get our kill score to 5-3 as things are going to start evening out a little bit for Chappa.
they definitely need it as well, and if we compare just all the cores, the net worth of those, Drow Ranger still doing better than the Spirit Bear, and Drow Ranger, even if she doesn't have that much farm, just having the level 6, getting the marksmanship plus the precision aura, you're still definitely helping out your team a hell of a lot more. And not only that, also the gust, the silence from that one is what really helped them just save their own heroes. And well, they didn't get the kill on the Storm Spirit, but without the silence, Storm Spirit would have at least gotten one hero and maybe even two himself.
Well, then things are going to go back to the way they were for the most part. The Lone Druid now has boots on both his hero and his bear, so he's going to start catching up, but over in the sidelines to get a Shadow Demon Disruption into the double-edged combo that we've seen so many times before, and this time it's going to net a kill onto the Gyrocopter. Pretty high priority target. I was expecting the Shadow Demon and Lesh to be the ones to roam around, but it seems that they're all about that Shadow Demon Centaur combination.
Yeah, it's just so strong so far. The burst is really low, Metrium and Pasha coming in, as well as Bunny even, so they're going to get at least one kill. Ditchera, he's a tanky target. The stun does miss, but everybody should be fine. Pasha doesn't have the Sonic Wave, and with this, they may go for the Spirit Bear though. Yeah, Spirit Bear gonna back off now.
Yeah, King R bailing out his friendly Lone Druid with a defensive disruption there is really going to pay off big. They'll keep the bear out inside the lane. This could be a huge fight. The only hero that's not around is Storm Spirit. Does he have a TP at the ready? They're going to drop Stampede. He's TPing down towards bottom as all hell is breaking loose. They'll lose the Queen of Pain over towards the sidelines. Rocket hits bear. Shadow Demon dies to a little bit of damage from the bench. Zipping and zapping. Sunlight's going to go towards the right. His Caldan's going to connect on to pretty much everybody, killing Leshrac on impact. And now going to slow down Sunlight with no mana. He's trying to bottle up, trying to get out of there. They focus down the center. It's a full 5-man wipe and a triple kill for Dodgers. 2 for 5 trade. That fight probably couldn't have gone much better for Chappa, in all honesty, especially with the start of it being the Queen of Pain losing her life.
You Queen of Pain didn't get all that much burst damage out, but that cooldown was more or less perfect. It just covered the entire area there, and there was no way you're gonna get out because all of the trees were blocking you. And of course then just Rocket Barrage to follow as well. Really excellently taken fight, and with this Chappa, they do get the net worth in their favor. XP almost zeroed out because of that one fight as well. But all in all, it's still rather even on both graphs. So it's anybody's game. Kill score also, as you can see, 8 and 8 for both. So this game is definitely already more interesting and more close than the first one was.
Yeah, and this is going to probably stay an interesting game. Lone Druid has so much time to actually catch up and become a relevant hero. At the moment, he has Phase, Orb of Venom on the bear, and if you get a lucky Entangle, maybe he can kill off his support. But Abaddon doesn't really care. He can always purge off that Entangle with Ultimate or Aphotic Shield, and unless his Ultimate's previously down, I don't think he can actually kill him. Dishiro won't be able to get that to happen. There is going to be a Shadow Strike attempted in mid, but that's going to be destroyed, if I'm not mistaken, by the Spirit Bearer. They're going to zip instead on the Pasha Invoker with the follow-up Blink Hoof Stomp. They'll blow her apart, and now swap back. Metrum is going to throw a Magic Missile into King R with the cooldown damage. It's not quite going to be enough with Shadow Demon Disruption to buy a little bit more space. King R is slowed down and will be shot down by Shadow Demon. 1-for-1 trade as they try to get over towards the sidelines. And it looks like they're going to succeed, although the reinitiation potential is there with the Blink Hoof Stomp. Catches out two with the double edge onto Dro. That's going to be her death as Bunny drops down to pretty low amounts of HP. They're going to go on to Dodgers, get a nice root onto the Gyrocopter, stuck in place. He's going to go down. The Leshrac is going to get that dominating spree. Now another root onto Metrum. Man, who needs items when you have root luck like that? The Lone Druid's going to be pretty happy about it. It's going to be a 2-for-4. A 2-for-5, actually. They mop up everything.
Man, never call it luck, pure skill. It's all about the root skill there. Just like Ogre Magi. Oh, Spirit Bear will go down now, so Pasha gets himself a little bit of XP. Hits up to level 11 now, so next Sonic Wave will be a hell of a lot stronger. Also, of course, 300 gold. The Spirit Bear is better than the hero if you just get the kill on that way. And with the 300 gold, the Orchid will be coming out a little bit faster. I really thought it's gonna come out at like 15 minutes the way she was going beforehand, but still has 2 deaths to her name, so needs to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, it's slowed down a lot after those last 2 fights. And, well, at the moment, the Storm Spirit's Orchid, although it is going to be later than the Queen of Pains, is also going to be coming out at a reasonable time. There will be a window where Queen of Pain has it, and Storm Spirit doesn't, and that's a window that Chappa should try to use to get some kills.
Well, even though they lost the last fight, it's still Queen of Pain and Gyrocopter just dominating the net worth chart, and if you look at the graphs, net worth more or less 0 as, oh, Nikaril finds himself just forget. They're gonna blink on him, get the silence. There is no Stampede to get him to safety. Swap as well. Metrum didn't get quite close enough, and with the Stampede, that's gonna be a guaranteed escape, although he may have been able to escape even without, but better safe than sorry in this situation.
Yeah, why not? The Centaur Warner is going to make it home safely, and they buy a little bit of space for the Storm Spirit to push up top. He's going to throw a Remnant into Pasha Invoker and then TP out. Tower up towards top is going to get denied. The Catapult isn't even going to get another attack off, and Queen of Pain does get that tower denial. Storm Spirit stuck around maybe a little bit too long. He's over in the sidelines farming up a stack. This is a decent amount of economic damage, but he's getting collapsed upon. They don't have an Orchid, so they need a Magic Missile or a Silence from a Dro to connect, but now he's almost pad out of mana. Vengeful Spirit is going to walk in on an intercept course. Metrum, can he bump into Sunlight? Is going to do so. Has a swap going down in 1 second, is going to decide against it, however. I think that potentially could have worked out if they're willing to commit the Blink, Scream, and Sonic Wave from the Queen of Pain. But in the end, Chappa are going to play things a little bit safer and then just go ahead and take a tier 1 tower. Traded for a tier 1 at bottom. Destroyed by the Lone Druid and Centaur.
So it's going to be a trade, but it does get Queen of Pain really close to that Orchid now. Has enough gold to finish up the second Oblivion Staff. And never mind, has the recipe first, so only needs the cheapest item, the Sage's Mask. Or the Sage Mask. Now call down bottom lane, just use on the creeps. 1 hit does also hit the Spirit Bear, but not that big of a deal for him.
Yeah, and things are going to slow down. 13 to 10, Power Rangers still with a slight kill advantage, and this is really benefiting their supports more than anything. Shadow Demon's going to have his completed 4 staff, while the Shrek is sitting on Power Dread's Urn. Just some nice value stat items for himself, and the same can't really be said for the Chappa supports, in particular the Abaddon, who's just sitting on brown boots for the most part. Venge is sitting on a decent chunk of gold, but hasn't actually committed that into useful items. As a team, Chappa will farm up these Ancients fairly quickly and potentially catch out a Centaur. He's going to get Shadow Struck, and well, he's just going to TP back to base. No way to cancel that in range. Metrum a little too far to the left.
And Power Ranger, of course, knowing that so many heroes are bottom, just trying to go for the middle lane. They force out the glyph if nothing else. Sunlight. He does have the luxury to stay around a little bit longer, unless of course there's a really nice combination of a swap into a straight out Gust. And Gust being maxed out, it is a long silence, but then again, Storm Spirit is soon enough gonna have the dual scepter to help against those silences.
Alrighty then, things are going to slow down a little bit. Consistently, Sunlight's been farming inside the enemy woods, however, and in fact, he's not going to go for an Orchid after all. Decides instead to back up and go for a Yule's Scepter of Divinity instead of finishing up that Robe of the Magi. To get silence of his own, instead he wants to keep himself safe from Chappa silences, Gust, and the Orchid eventually to come out from Queen of Pain. Actually, pretty interesting build coming out from Nickroll. He's maxed out the Gust. Not something that we see very often.
Of course, the silence definitely is necessary if you want to get the kills on the Storm Spirit. I've seen it a couple of times this game already, the Vengeful Spirits, Magic Missile for example getting dodged out with just the ball lightning, but they go into Roshan now and they are doing it really fast, I have to say. Rocket Barrage helping out, the minus armor of course as well, and that's gonna be an easy Aegis for them.
I think the biggest thing is the plus 40 damage for everybody involved, with the exception being Abaddon. He didn't even break his smoke. Lone Druid's going to show his item build. It's going to be a Mask of Madness Bear. This is not very good for fighting at all. When you have Mask of Madness applied to your bear, he melts like, I don't know, butter to a hot knife. But he is going to melt equally as fast towers with that extra attack speed. And, well, they're going to drop Stampede, trying to buy some space away from the enemy team. But Lone Druid is going to drop this tier 2 to about 581 HP. Can he get out with his main hero? Looks like the answer is yes. The actual catch coming out from Chappa isn't there. There's going to be a Glimmer Cape purchased by the Vengeful Spirit, trying to come in from the sidelines, but actually I hate the Glimmer Cape this game. Venge, does she have enough mana to sustain it? She's going to have enough mana for a Magic Missile, and that'll cancel King R's TP. Where was he trying to go? That felt like it took a long time, but yeah, with the additional mana cost of 130 on a support like Vengeful Spirit that's already fairly mana strapped, I think that Venge needs to go back for Arcane Boots now.
Yeah, it's probably true indeed at the moment, but I think the Shadow Demon may have tried to TP to the bottom tier 1, because I think the Lone Druid had just TP'd to that one. It definitely felt longer than normal for me as well. I was like, yep, he's fine, he has definitely enough time, and suddenly, nope, TP still lasting, and point blank Magic Missile just enough to just cancel the TP. And well, with this, Chappa being on the top side with 4 of their heroes, do they keep on going for this tier 2?
Well, potentially. Let's see. The Aegis is currently sitting on the Gyrocopter, and he's not really involved. They're going to look for a Storm Spirit in mid. They deny the tower. Now Orchid him up. Magic Missiles dodged by the Yule Scepter, and also purges off the Silence. So any killing potential on the Storm Spirit is gone. They will actually turn around. Sunlight's playing very aggressively. Had a Centaur coming in from the sidelines, but with Cheshire Cat in such low HP, I think that was more or less just a bluff.
So Power Rangers, they're not really farming as well as they were in game number 1. Well, not anywhere close to be honest, or maybe it's just Chappa farming better than in game number 1. But if this just keeps on going like this, with both teams kind of getting farm, nobody's getting a real clear advantage just kill-wise or even objective-wise, who does it favor in the long run?
It's actually a very tough call. If Lone Druid was farming better, I'd be tempted to say Power Rangers, but he just has Phase Mask of Madness on the bear, and 21 minutes almost into this game, that's not really acceptable. Ditchura is very far behind where he could be, but then again, so is the Drow Ranger, I suppose. She has the makings of a BKB, but not much else.
Yeah, it's, well, at the moment I think it's probably still the Drow Ranger, maybe a little bit more useful, just providing that aura, and once she finishes a BKB, at least she can rather reliably stay in the fights, because Lone Druid isn't doing that massive amount of physical damage quite yet. But they are pushing now, and it's going to be a tier 2 taken for Power Rangers. Chappa are going for a tower of their own, but they're just going to be that much slower to even get to the tower.
Well, tier 2 is going to fall to the Storm Spirit, and although Chappa take a little bit longer getting to it, they should be able to take it just the same, even though Glyph is popped. Nobody is close for Power Rangers. Instead, they're going to look for a trade in mid with the Mask of Madness on Bear and with the Edict up for J4, even though only level 1. This is a trade that Chappa are not going to be happy taking. Look at that tower melt. This is the power of Mask of Madness Bear. He hardly had to spend any gold for this build-up either. If you leave the bear alone, it's a great item, but now they have to defend their bottom lane because they're leaving the Drow Ranger alone. They'll start throwing out a couple of stacks of Shadow Poison, although it's only level 2, and the tier 3 tower is almost already dead, and it will end up falling down before Power Rangers get there. Long ball in from the Storm Spirit, goes under the backlines. Where's he actually going? He's going for a zip TP. That was very interesting. Call down comes out, his Blink Up Stop, and Double Edge connects onto Passion Invoker's walls, Nickroll, but the damage is immediately there. They're going to get a handful of fruits over under the Drow Ranger. Can they get the Drow out to safety? With Nephotic Shield, it looks like the answer is yes, especially when the bear dies with the Mask Man that's activated. It melts. They buy back from Leshrac. They lose their gyrocopters. Aegis is going to be popped. Can they kill him off the second time? Split Earth perfectly timed by J4, but purged off and then glimmered out of there. Gyrocopter is going to survive. They do take a tier 3 tower, but fortunately for Power Rangers, they don't lose a barracks.
It did come rather close to him losing the racks on top of everything else as well. So Chappa, earlier on the trade wasn't all that good for them, but just really forcing their way towards the tier 3 and Power Rangers not reacting in time. Also the Storm Spirit zip, it's like a cute thing to do, just zip through them and TP out, maybe force out a few spells doing so. But he just doesn't suddenly have too much mana to immediately follow up, but straight as the TP ended, that was when the center jumped in, so it was a little bit of like miscoordination by them, because they definitely should have been able to kill the Drow Ranger.
Well, at the moment, Smoke Up from Power Rangers is going to kill pretty much any unfortunate soul or couple of souls that it finds, but, well, they aren't going to spot eyes on anybody just yet, although they have a deep Radiant Observer ward. It didn't actually look like anybody crossed that line, so they maintain themselves outside of vision. Things are just going to cool down as Lone Druid needs a little bit more farm. Looks like Maelstrom's going to be the course of action for Dichira, but this is entirely a split pushing build. It doesn't particularly fight very well, although it does a decent amount of damage. The bear is too easy to focus down going for these items. There's no amount of tank and no ability to keep them on the front line, especially when you're dealing with as much physical damage as Drow Ranger and company are pumping out. BKB on Drow and Queen of Pain is online, 10-second for both of them.
Yeah, Chiro also has his 10-second one, so they have a triple BKB, all of their cores have it. And even if it wears out, there's still going to be the Abaddon helping just keep them alive. And so far, the Abaddon has been doing a really great job, to be honest. Great Aphotic Shields and Mist Coils just keeping their cores alive. And Chappa, back they go down the bottom lane. Melee racks aren't even back to full health yet. And I'm not even too sure if Power Rangers can defend this.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult. They're going to start by dropping a missile onto J4, and although annoying, will be destroyed just the same. But as soon as they drop the Drow Ranger onto a position where she can hit at these barracks, they're going to fall. Just one arrow into the range barracks is going to put it down about 50 HP or so, which is completely fine. A little bit more than that, actually. But just the same, Chappa are going to keep up the pressure. They can slow push this fairly effectively. There's no pressure being applied by the Lone Druid and his Spear Bearer. Without Aghanim Scepter and without Radiance, he has to keep his hero close by, and that's not necessarily something he wants to be doing in this spot. The Spirit Bearer is not really doing anything. They'll look for the Blink Hoof Stomp. They get the swap back. Metrum is going to be dropped, or no, he's not at all with the Aphotic Shield applied. The call down is going to do quite a lot of damage as Metrum's getting chunked by the bear. The bear ends up going down, however, with the Mask of Madness activated. The Storm Spirit also has fallen, and more importantly, the melee barracks are getting focused, and Chappa have breached high ground in a big way too. Plus a couple of kills on top. It doesn't really get better for them. Power Rangers just couldn't find an opening.
Yeah, it's just a little bit unfortunate, and they really lack the items as well to go through those BKBs. Just not enough physical damage is what it was mostly. I mean, yes, you get the one kill, but killing a support really isn't that big of an accomplishment if you lose that many heroes yourself. Of course, it's not over yet. It's only a single set of racks, but it's just gonna make it so much more difficult to get out on the map. Just try to do something as well. We had Cheshire Cat roaming around rather aggressively, just being in the enemy jungle by himself almost, placing down a couple of nope, those are old wards, both of them. So if you're Power Rangers now, do you still just try to split push things out and try to catch up in farm, or do you now start smoking aggressively and try go for ganks?
You kind of have to just split push. Even though Storm Spirit and Centaur can find decent jumps, actually getting kills on important heroes is almost impossible with the amount of BKBs that are up for Chappa. And did they even use a single BKB in that last fight? Looks like Queen of Pain was forced to use her cooldown, as was the Gyrocopter, but still at 9 seconds. It's a respectable time, and more than enough for them to get out to safety. Their ganking combination, like Leshrac plus Centaur, Leshrac plus Shadow Demon, and what have you, any combination of these four heroes, is really hurt by the fact that they don't have anything else to throw on top of that. The Lone Druid is entirely on split push duty. Although he does have a Maelstrom, Dichira just needs more time, and I'm not sure that's time that they can actually buy for his Lone Druid. They're getting out farmed, and that's very unfortunate for Power Rangers.
Well, they are trying to go for a tier 2 at least, get some income that way, but Chappa, a couple of TPs are there. Metri might get the swap onto somebody. It is level 2, although probably the target is trying to go for R faster, and now King RF just went in with a nice disruption. They could have turned around, but then again, Power Rangers didn't know exactly how many heroes are incoming.
Well, the good news for Power Rangers is that they do have an Orchid coming out from the Storm Spirit, but these items really aren't comparing to the caliber of farm that's coming out for, like, the Queen of Pain. She's currently sitting on a plate mail and probably going to be working into a Shiva's Guard, but even an Assault Cuirass wouldn't be terrible on Pache, and in fact, I actually quite like that item pickup. The extra ore for the team is really good, and who else is going to build it, I think, is the bottom line. Eventually, Abaddon would love to, but he's very poor, this Abaddon. He has the Glimmer Cape now, so that's useful utility. They're going to go again into the Roshan Pit, and this should be another Aegis for them. Power Rangers aren't anywhere close, even though your heroes do fight pretty well inside close quarters.
So, this time around, the Aegis, once again, going to go to the Gyrocopter, and this really should be kind of an easy siege for another Rex, in all honesty. They're just getting so much farm on their cores, whereas Power Rangers struggling to keep up. I mean, Drow still doesn't have all that much, but still the aura by itself provides 55 extra damage, and to the Gyrocopter, that is a lot of damage with the flak cannon.
Yeah, well, at the moment, things have calmed down a little bit after the push down towards bottom coming out from Chappa. Let's see, with the second life on the Gyrocopter, I'd like to see them go for a fairly aggressive push sooner rather than later. They're giving Power Rangers a little bit of space, and I think it's a little bit of space that they don't necessarily need to be giving them. What do you think they're waiting for? They have 3,200 gold sitting in the bank of the Gyrocopter. Queen of Pain has 2,000, and Ranger a lot less than the other two, probably not going to have any immediate item progression. Looks like Gyrocopter is going to settle on Mantis Style. Okay, fair enough.
It's not too bad, especially now considering the Storm Spirit does have the Orchid, so you're not gonna have to waste a BKB straight out when you get silenced there. Just can save the BKB for actual disables and maybe a little bit extra. Also, if you're going for a push, Meta-style illusions can definitely help out speed things up for you. Bottom lane though, Power Rangers, you can see that they're really trying to do their best to kind of divert the attention of Chappa, force them back, TP back, so that they wouldn't be pushing Power Rangers high ground. But this delay tactic can only work so long. Last time around as well, we saw, I think, Power Rangers maybe claiming 2 towers, maybe even 2 tier 2 towers. But Chappa, they were like, yeah, we're just gonna get the tier 2 of our own and go for the tier 3 as well, whereas Power Rangers couldn't really commit to the high ground themselves.
Both of these lineups are incredibly punishing when it comes to the amount of damage they're able to deal to structures if you lose a fight, and even without losing a fight. Look at bottom lane, Lone Druid is chunking down to tier 3, it's not being glyphed. Chappa need to do something about it. They're going to commit to high ground themselves. Up in the top lane, they get a swap back, trying to focus down King R. King R drops. Blink and Hoof Stomp is going to be missed by the Centauri over Blink. Now glimmered up. It is going to buy a little bit more space as Lone Druid is trying his best to split push. They're going to glyph this through and try to defend as Shadow Demon is looking for the top lane. They need to pull back. The Lone Druid is in their base, but he committed for melee barracks and couldn't get it. Ditcheraw's bear is incredibly low. Stampede buying him a little bit more space. Is going to trade the Mask of Madness to his hero and start running. Ditcheraw's going to book it, and he's going to survive with a TP out as they lose their Shadow Demon inside the base. That's a dieback as they pick him off, and now mop up the Leshrac too with the Blink Scream of Pain. Now it's back time for that high ground push that Chappa were going for at the beginning of this fight. Blink and Hoof Stomp double edged with the damage coming out from Storm Spirit. Dodgers is probably going to lose his Aegis here, but no, the Glimmer Cape saves him. Now Photic Shield healed it up, and Dodgers is home free. Another zip in. They're going to pop the Abaddon ultimate, yules him up to delay a little bit of that damage and eventually bring him down. They have a Soul Ring popped, a little bit of an extra zip coming out from the Storm. Does he have the damage skill off Bunny? Doesn't look like the answer is yes. Bunny's trying to make his way out. He's going to try to TP, but smacked down by Storm. And a lucky Maelstrom proc coming out from the Bear. In the end, neither team actually breach another set of barracks, although Power Rangers got close to pulling that one through. It cost them 2 buybacks.
It's of course the supports, but I do believe it was the second buyback for Leshrac in general. So he's not going to be getting that like semi-carry-ish kind of role in this game, or at least not anytime soon. And well, Power Rangers, I still think they made like the best possible trade. Also, they were so ridiculously close to getting the Gyrocopter's Aegis. The Aegis though will be there now for another like minute and a half, and oh, Cheshagat running around with the Glimmer Cape. Is he? No. He is trying to go for it with the help of the Storm Spirit and the Shadow Demon. They get one. They might even get Nicaril, a really nice cast, but I don't think it's going to be enough. With the Stampede helping them slow down the draw and surround him. That is a just massive kill, the secondary one.
Yeah, even so, Chappa is still sitting on a pretty solid advantage when it comes to net worth and experience, but that puts a pretty big dent, especially the experience lead, which was at about 4,000 at one point for Chappa, but now bared down to about 2K. At this point in the game, pretty negligible. Lone Druid up towards top, spotted out by the Queen of Pain. He's going to Glimmer himself. The Glimmer Cape is currently on the bear, and then poof the bear out. He's going to be home free. So many Glimmer Capes inside this engagement. I'm not sure if I like the pickup on Lone Druid. I think that extra gold probably could have been put into something else, but it saved his bacon there, so I guess in that sense it's worth it.
We have 4 Glimmer Capes in this game in total. Lone Druid, Centaur Warrunner, Vengeful Spirit, as well as the Abaddon. So that is a lot of just magic resistance if you need it, but like we have seen, it's just using that Invis there as well. A mini Shadow Blade if you will there, but Chappa, back to the top lane they go, tier 3 still standing. And well, Shadow Demon definitely not too fast in pushing out the lanes. He's not the worst, but you need to stack up like 4 or 5 stacks of the Shadow Poison first.
Yeah, it does take a little bit of time, but it's doable by King Art. There's your Aegis expiring on the Gyrocopter. He's gonna get that free regen after all is said and done. They'll try their best to push bottom, chasing after the Lone Druid. I think he's going to be able to make it out alive here, however. With the Stampede, especially, Ditcherad is going to buy himself a little bit of extra space. They slow him down, but now Glimmer Cape, no TP from Ditcherad. That's actually very interesting. I thought he'd just straight up TP. Now they're going to continue the chase, slowing down the bear constantly, but no, they're just not able to do it. The bear is too fast. And, well, in the end, Ditcherad is going to make himself out alive. I honestly thought that the 130 mana cost would dissuade a lot more people from buying the Glimmer Cape, but apparently that's not the case.
People don't care about mana because they're like, if we're dead, we can't use mana anyway. I don't know, maybe that's like one of the reasonings. But now Chappa are closing in on a couple of Power Ranger heroes, but they just back out in time. Ditcherad just running his way to safety. He's pretty speedy after all, 443 movement speed, and summons the bear. I have to say Power Rangers, even though they've been, well, on the back foot for the most part in at least gold, they've really been doing a great job just with their map presence, just split pushing out and forcing so many TPs so often by Chappa.
Yeah, at the moment, I think the takeaway, or rather the what you consider when you're looking for items like that, is what you're giving up. At the moment, they're going to get their next round of items with the Aghanim Scepter up for the center. They're going to Stampede into the enemy team, TP away from the Gyrocopter. If Stomp's going to miss, his Metrum is going to Glimmer out of there, and TP. He's home free. There's no way for them to cancel that. Glimmer forward by Centaur. Looks like they'll try to catch out Bunny, but he's also going to live. Or is he? The disruption is going to come at the last second. Bunny, trapped around a couple of illusions, is going to end up going down. As Lone Druid dies in the sidelines with that, Ghost Step for the loser Shadow Demon to the Queen of Pain's poison damage. Now with BKB, Pop Pesha Invoker is going to end up fighting for the best of his ability. They're going to Hoof Stomp up Bunny, and now pull back Pesha Invoker, bitten off a lot more than they can chew, stunning him up with the Lesh. J4 is going to end up killing him off as the Storm Spirit dies to a little bit more damage. Denied from the Abaddon as they lose yet another. A 2 for 4, but I suppose you don't even have to count the Abaddon suicide. Chappa are going to get a nice victory, and now can push high ground without any contention. There's no buybacks.
This might be like GG territory almost, because they can probably get both racks, Storm Spirit down for so long. And that Lone Druid, he got the top racks down to 50 health, then the homing missile hit the Spirit Bear, and Lone Druid was a little bit too far from the Spirit Bear, had to try to go back in. Then the Spirit Bear died, and Lone Druid tried to get the racks himself. A nice stun into Dodgers, but another Glimmer Cape. That item, it's just so clowny somehow, but they're gonna go in. But he just pops the PKB and turns things around. The Ghost as well. Cat will make it out, but they lose the racks. They're gonna probably lose King R. Nope, there's a disruption. Although he's still not completely safe. 4-steps himself out of the base, but that direction isn't towards safety.
He's going to try to TP out. Metrum does not have enough mana to cancel that with a stun, but the damage is more than enough. They'll chase forward for the Dro, root it down to the ground. They, at the very least, make Chappa pay for taking the middle barracks, but they take it just the same. 2 racks up. This game gets a lot harder for Power Rangers. At the very least, they don't have to deal with mega creeps, and they can feasibly push out against these lanes, but the raw amount of advantage that Chappa have is impressive at this point, and the items seem to be mattering a lot more. This Lone Druid just hasn't really done much. What's going on?
I have no idea. Syllabear, maybe he was, well, I guess he was stuck in the throne. I guess the Spirit Bear then. I didn't see it myself, so I can't really say for sure, but in any case, I don't know, people are like promoting other players. But at the moment, Chappa as long as they don't waste too much gold and don't don't get killed while not having buyback, they should have this game in the bag, more or less.
Alrighty then, so we're just going to chill and see if that's going to end up happening. Their base damage is ridiculous. I think if they just threw their bodies at the top lane, and, well, by throwing their bodies, I mean just pop BKB and hit the towers, they might even make it out after the fact. They should be able to secure megas for themselves, and I think that should be their play. You have a 9-second BKB on the Jura Ranger. Queen of Pains is down to 7. Gyrocopters is also down to 7 seconds. But that's more enough to take it when you're dealing with an extra 67 damage for all 3 of those heroes. A little bit of extra damage thrown in there from the Vengeance War. And then you have the Assault Cuirass for an extra bit of minus armor mixed in. The damage these heroes can pump out to structures is immense. And it's really just not workaroundable by Power Rangers. I don't think they can peel them off.
Yeah, probably not. This game may have lasted a little bit too long for Power Rangers to stand a chance. If the Lone Droid had had a slightly better start, maybe get like an early Radiant and be ahead in net worth, maybe they would have a chance. But if you look at it now, the top 3 are all Chappa, and that's just unacceptable with the kind of lineup that they have. Chappa have a crazy amount of late game with the heroes there, and now they're gonna have another Aegis, but this time around it's also gonna be the Cheese.
Yeah, Cheese at the moment is going to be thrown onto the Queen of Pain as if they needed any more damage. They have a DD rune on the Queen of Pain. I think this is just the nail in the coffin, in all honesty. Power Rangers need to pull something miraculous out, and even if they get the full combo coming out from the Centaur and Leshrac to land, I don't think they have enough damage to burst them down before they're able to pop their BKBs. And damage through BKB at the moment is something that they are lacking. The Lone Druid Bear is pretty much the only thing that's going to hurt them. With the makings of a Demon Edge item on him, he is hitting pretty hard, but the biggest issue is that the Lone Druid Bear is just going to melt. 2700 HP, although though he does have the Glimmer Cape extra spell resist, it's not enough when you have Mask of Madness activated. So I think this is probably the final push of the game unless Power Rangers pull something miraculous. And maybe that involves getting some lucky bashes and mini bashes. MKB is up for the Spirit Bear.
So if that isn't enough, then, well, it's just GG straight out. But like you said, Chappa, they may just have it in them to kind of dive against the racks. At the moment though, we do have Cheshire Cat just split pushing as well. He's not that tanky though. Without the Heart of the Rask, the return isn't that massive against the towers, and they're a little bit too late with the TPs as well. Neither do they have the glyph, so tier 3 already down, and damage on the racks are starting.
Yeah, melee barracks already down to half HP. The melee barracks is gone already as they jump into the sidelines. They'll drop down Passion Invoker. They'll get the Queen of Pain. She wasn't able to pop her BKB. Forced staff over the sidelines by Metrum. The Drone Ranger's going to survive a little bit longer, but they've gotten what they came for. Nickerel's going to be perma-bashed, perma-rooted with a little bit of help from the Abaddon. It might be enough. They're going to rocket up the bear, trying to run away. Buybacks galore from everybody as the Lone Druid is going to lose his spirit animal. He does not have another resummon at the ready, if I'm not mistaken, but I very well could be. There's Gem of True Sight on the deck. Vengeful Spirit dies, but they need literally everybody to die if they can make this worth it. Nova Stomp is a little too far in, coming with the Force Staff forward. They'll catch that onto Nickerel as the Gyrocopter goes to town on the sidelines. Can they even kill off this Dro? Aphotic Shield Help is going to stop them. They have True Sight of Cheshire Cat, and Dro still survives. Nickerel turns around, survives on 20 HP after the Howl of Terror, decides to not go for that Centaur kill, but even without going for it, it doesn't seem to be mattering much. Good game well played comes out from Power Rangers.
So Chappa actually managed to do it, take us to a game number 3 as well. After how game number 1 went, was such a short game as well, I didn't think they maybe have it in them, but they got a pretty solid draft. The Draw Ranger, both of us were a little bit skeptical, but they made it work, didn't get punished heavily enough by it, and with this, we are gonna see a game number 3, so we're gonna head towards that lobby now. But so far, thank you for tuning in, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed the casting as well as the games. And if you have, you can check us out for more on HeflaTV on both Facebook as well as Twitter for the casters. It is at Couchor for me, at GrandisV for my co-caster, and of course, huge shout out to the sponsors as well. Tesoro, eBattle, Silicon Power, Aces, as well as of course Hitbox, where we are streaming here. And with this, we're heading towards a game number 3, people, so see you hopefully in just a couple of minutes.